Welcome to Envisioned Broadcasting. Envisioned Broadcasting, the station designed to encourage, equip, and empower you for growth and success. An affiliate of Direct Impact Broadcasting and Creative Broadcasting, presenting the EmPower Hour with Jaresha, a show that shares the stories behind the journeys of leaders, influencers, and motivators. The EmPower Hour with Jaresha begins now.
Welcome to EmPower Hour with Jaresha. I am your host, Jaresha Moore. A little bit about myself. I am a best-selling author with over 18 years of combined experience in education, finance, healthcare, business management and development, owner and founder of EmPower on Purpose, LLC, where we provide leadership training, personal and professional coaching and consulting services, certified coach, speaker, and trainer with the John Maxwell team, and owner of Envisioned Broadcasting radio station. Before I introduce my guest this evening, I would like to announce an upcoming workshop sponsored by EmPower on Purpose. It's a networking virtual vision board workshop that is being offered every first Sunday of the month. The next one is actually Sunday, October 6th at 5 p.m. This is a goal-setting vision board workshop, an online networking event. We are almost 10 months into 2019. Can you guys believe that? My goodness. So it's not too late to level up and get focused. During the workshop, you will learn a proven framework to help you tap into your true desires and dreams. Use those desires to set intentional goals and then outline an achievable plan. You will break all traditional goal-setting philosophies during this intro workshop. You will also receive worksheets that will make completing your vision board effortless. Register today to enjoy an amazing atmosphere with great vibration, laughter, fun, while you write your vision with power and purpose. I also want to share some information about another event that's coming up that's being hosted by Lala Hudson. Empowered Vision presents The Woman in Red. This is a woman empowerment event that is scheduled on Sunday, September 29th at 5 p.m. So that is not this Sunday, but next Sunday. So ladies, wear your best red dress. There will be so many wonderful people, and you will have powerful speakers that will speak into your life no matter what path you're on. Whether you made it, if you're stuck trying to find yourself, if you need to build your confidence, and you need to know where to start your dream or your journey. Ladies, this event will be all about you, the woman in red. There will be food, music, prizes, networking, vendors, and more. And I am actually going to be one of the amazing speakers. To find out more details or to purchase tickets, call 513-658-9754. Hope to see you there. So today's empowerment quote is, "Do not follow where the path may lead. Go instead where there is no path and leave a trail," by Muriel Strode. This quote makes me think of the Dr. Seuss quote that says, "Today you are you. That is truer than true. There is no one alive who is newer than you." I absolutely love this quote. Yes, there may be paths that may be, maybe have been set for you as an example or a guide that you may be able to follow. However, you have to be a leader, not a follower. Often we develop this follow mentality. We conform to what others say or think, and we modify ourselves instead of letting our uniqueness shine and our greatness shine through. Don't ever give up your individuality that you bring to the table. Be a leader and discover your own way. Discover your path where you can let your greatness shine. Without further delay, today my guest is Trina L. Martin. Trina L. Martin is a motivational speaker who inspires emerging leaders to pursue their wildest dreams with heart and grit. An accomplished and dedicated member of the U.S. military for nearly 30 years, she has broken barriers and made strides in her career that many said weren't possible. Her new mission is to show others how they, too, can achieve the impossible and define success on their own terms. A native of Chicago, Illinois, Trina grew up watching her mother struggle financially to take care of the family. She dreamed of attending college one day, but knew she'd have to find a way to achieve that goal on her own due to the lack of support and resources at home. With unwavering determination, she enlisted in the U.S. Army and served in the reserves to put herself through school at Alabama A&M University. Both of these choices fueled Trina's desire to succeed and revealed the depths of her resiliency. After several years in the Army, Trina transferred to the Navy and earned an MBA degree from Western International University. Naturally skilled at finding the harmony between technology, science, and data, she has led a stellar career in the informational technology field. As an intelligence officer in the U.S. Navy, Trina has pierced the glass ceiling and excelled in the positions typically held by men. The common denominator throughout Trina's career has been her ability to set goals and not only achieve, but surpass them. Self-motivation, discipline, and hard work are the driving forces that helped her design a life and career that defied the odds stacked against her. As a speaker, she takes a refreshingly honest and relatable approach to teaching student leaders, new professionals, and women how to develop the confidence they need to do the same. Based in Houston, Texas, when she's not helping others realize their full potential in the office or on stage, the role she values most is that of mom to her 2 children. Welcome, Trina. I am so happy to have you on the show today.
Thank you, Jaresha, for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
I just shared your amazing background and story. You have truly an amazing background and story. Is there anything else that you may want to share with the listeners about your journey?
Well, thank you, Jaresha, for saying, my journey's been amazing. One of the things that I would like to just say to the listeners, and it's something that I say when I'm coaching my clients, is I had to learn how to make connections, throughout my journey, build relationships, and that's very vital. I know many of us, we set out and we have that, me against the world mentality, and I did, because I did things that I didn't have modeled for me. So I had to learn basically by the school of hard knocks. But connections and building those connections and relationships are very important. You have to get out and talk to people and listen to people. I tell the story in my book, but I'm going to share it with you as well. When I was working on my MBA thesis, I was doing it on De Beers and diamonds and how De Beers basically monopolized the diamond industry. So at that time, my ex-husband was doing his doctoral dissertation, working on that. He went to Botswana to do that. So while he was there, he rented a room from a Botswanian lady who was somewhat of a socialite. So I took time off and I went to visit him there. Well, when I got there, I was talking to the lady and I told her, that I was working on my thesis and what it was about, and just talking. We were just talking, getting to know each other. The next day or so, she took my husband and I to a social event, and there were a lot of prominent people there. And, I didn't know she was actually a socialite, but she was pretty well connected. And we were there just, talking and mingling, and she comes up to me with this well-dressed gentleman, and she introduces me to the gentleman, and she tells him, she's working on her MBA thesis on diamonds and De Beers. And then she looks at me and she introduces the man to me, and she goes, "Oh, and he's the VP of De Beers." So I was shocked. I was going, "Oh my goodness!" And this gentleman and I, we end up having a conversation. He asked me that I want to tour the diamond mine, but I said all of that to say, if I had not sat down and talked with this lady and shared with her what I was doing and made that connection, she would have never known, which would have resulted in me never meeting the man that I met, the VP of De Beers. So you need to get out and you need to talk to people. Share your story. Let people share their story with you, because you never know what your future holds and how those people may play a role in your life.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. It's so important, to make those connections because, like you said, you never know who's going to be in the room, and who you may be able to be connected to. And so, you just always have to be ready to, share either what you do, as a coach or as a speaker. You have to always be ready because you just never know who you may, come in contact with. Absolutely. So you are a motivational speaker who inspires emerging leaders to pursue their wildest dreams in heart and grit. Tell us some of your methods of how you go about doing that.
Well, I start off everything with mindset because mindset basically determines everything. It determines your physical, your mental, your spiritual being. But if you don't have your mind right, you can't really go after those things because you have to realize that there are going to be some dark times, there are going to be some hard times. You're going to have to do it alone sometimes. Sometimes you're going to have to do it afraid with your teeth chattering and your knees knocking. So you have to be mentally prepared for that fight. I equate that to being in the military and you going to war, but you're not equipped, you're not prepared, you don't have the tools for battle. And that's automatically a recipe for failure. So your mind is your tool, and it's a muscle, and you got to strengthen it. And strengthen it means you have to start believing in yourself. The belief in yourself, letting go of those limiting beliefs, whatever they may be. Start believing in yourself. Start investing in yourself, learning, growing, personal development. And that's how you ended up being able to pursue those dreams, because you have to be able, at the end of the day, know that you're committed. Whether it's a good day, a bad day, or whatever, you have to be committed to actually keep striving and going through to reach what you need to reach.
Absolutely. You mentioned to do it afraid, believe in yourself, invest in yourself, and being committed. Those are very good points, for the listeners to really take heed to, because at the end of the day, it's truly about growing. And, the one thing is, if we're not, if we're stuck in our comfort zone, then we're not growing. And oftentimes that means stepping outside of that comfort zone. And like you said, being able to do it afraid. And it all starts with that mindset, with believing in yourself and realizing that you have to invest in yourself. Absolutely. So please share with us what led you to the decision of choosing the career path that you did choose.
Well, Jaresha, my childhood was kind of filled with trauma. I had a verbally abusive mother, and that really destroyed my self-esteem and my confidence. So all my childhood, I knew that I needed to get away from her because I knew there was more for me, and I wanted to strive for that. So I went out, and I didn't have any kind of models of what I wanted to do. I was the first person in my family to go to college, and I did it all on my own. I made mistakes, but when it was all said and done, and I look back now over my life, I was like, wow, I don't know how I did that. So I decided that I wanted to be of service to other people who were like me, who may not have had that support system, or who may be lacking confidence or that self-esteem, but they know that they were meant to do more with their life. And that's my purpose in life. I want to inspire those people to go out and keep striving, keep doing it, and let them know that they can do it.
Absolutely, and I think that's amazing. I love being able to, connect with like-minded, women or men where we share that same passion of really being able to add value, to others. So you also enlisted at one point in the U.S. Army and Navy, and, of course, I want to say thank you for your service. How do you feel that your time in the military helped shape you to be be in a better position, that is, for the career path that you are on now?
Well, thank you for your support. The military has been vital in my life, and as you read in my bio, I have been serving for almost 30 years. I'm actually a naval officer now, but I did enlist as an E1, so that's like the bottom of the food chain. And the military basically shaped me and molded me. Just like I just previously shared with you with my childhood, I was a pretty broken person and I was very introverted. I was shy. I didn't have self-esteem. And the military brought that out of me. It made me come out of that shyness, and it actually formed me. It made me grow up, and it made me see things differently. You know, I've traveled the world. I've met people who I normally wouldn't have met in my course of my life. And now, as being an officer, I've developed confidence in myself, in my abilities. I've become a calmer person. I'm more polished. So the military, I have to say, you know, I've been serving for almost half my life, but it has been very, very, very vital, I guess, in forming my character of who I am today.
Absolutely. So what would you say up to this point has been the most challenging part of your business?
For me, right now, the challenge is I'm doing it all myself. So I am doing the social media, updating the website, doing it all. And sometimes it gets to be a bit overwhelming. Sometimes I like it because I'm a techie and a nerd by heart, so I like doing, updating my website and doing the technical things. But at some point, I'm going to have like a virtual assistant and some people helping me. But just being the, one person who's doing it all, it's a bit challenging at times.
Absolutely. And I will tell you that I know all too well because that has been my life for some time. Before I even stepped into the whole entrepreneur, shoes, I should say, I did not realize how, you as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, when you're trying to grow your business, you have to be everything. Like you said, social media, marketing, you have to do it all. And it's tough. It's overwhelming. It's a lot of early mornings, late nights. We have to do it all. But I will say that it was one of my mentors that had said to me, stop thinking that you have to do it all by yourself. You have, like you said, get a virtual assistant. And I'll tell you, my decision for getting a virtual assistant was probably one of the best decisions that I made because I literally, was like, okay, well, now I can hand over some of these tasks to, I can delegate. And it really kind of took some of that overwhelming feeling, off of me. But I definitely understand, having to wear the many hats and how it can be, challenging. So then what would you say has been the scariest thing that you've done in your business up to this point?
I have a couple of things. So I've basically scaled and evolved my business from me just speaking to actually creating a training and coaching business where I'm doing coaching one-on-one, I'm developing programs, and I've also written a book. So all of that, and of course, I'm pretty sure you experience this as well. When you start your journey, you have that imposter syndrome where you're going, okay, this is what I want to do. Then you start thinking, oh, my goodness, who am I? Can I do this? Who's going to listen to me? Are people going to come? And then you have to realize that you have everything you need. You have the expertise. You have, the knowledge and everything that you need to be of service to someone else, but you start doubting yourself. So that's been the scariest part of, for me, because I'm going, yes, I know this is something I can do. I'm qualified to do it. But then you start thinking, okay, will anybody enroll in my class? Will they read my book? how is this going to go? Or will I just be doing this and nobody won't even, care? So that's pretty scary.
Absolutely. And like you said, I can definitely agree. And I'm sure that any of the listeners that's out there that, are stepped into that entrepreneur, starting their own business, can agree as well that we all have those moments. There's some times that I even have those moments if I'm creating some kind of new course or something of that nature where I'm like, okay, are my clients going to think this is, valuable? And, so I think it's those, as you mentioned, it's the self-doubt that comes in and those limiting beliefs that tries to make us believe that, what we have is not good enough. When it truly is, we are destined for greatness. And, of course, our clients and, of course, the world needs to hear what that looks like, whether it's, coaching, speaking, or some kind of course. They need to hear that. Absolutely. So then share with the listeners what has been your biggest accomplishment up to this point.
Okay, so I'm going to kind of get off the business track, but aside from my two children, who I think they're my most proudest, and I don't know if accomplishment is a good word for being a mother, but becoming a naval officer is one of my proudest moments because I enlisted, like I said, as an E1. And I was an enlisted person for 14 years before I actually got my commission to become an officer. So I actually worked my way up through the ranks. But looking back and looking at the person that I have become and how I've changed and evolved and grown, being a naval officer has led to everything else in my life. So if it weren't for being an officer, I don't think I would be where I am now as far as speaking to people and coaching them. Just the life experience that I have had, the people that I have met from all over the world, all walks of life, and just having the focus and the clarity that I do to speak to people and share my story and share my journey, I credit that all with the military and it basically shaping me and shaping my life.
Absolutely. So share with the listeners what a day in the life of Trina looks like.
Oh, wow. So as you said before, since I am a team of one, my day starts very early and it ends very late. So usually my day, I usually start at, now you're going to be surprised, 3:45, 4 o'clock in the morning is usually when I start. I get up, I usually, let my dog out. I come in, I do like a 15-minute workout to, just kind of get myself together, make sure my kids are up for school, and I start planning my day. And I put some quiet time in there because and here's one of the things I do. I stopped watching the news because I realized that the news would stress me out. So I stopped watching the news and I started being quiet and getting my thoughts together. And I pray in the morning, so I get up in the morning and I always go through the Lord's Prayer, first thing in the morning to, thank Him for the day and starting out. But just being quiet with, being still with myself to get myself together and think about my day and what I have planned and just kind of release and, be able to start off fresh and clear. That's my routine for the day.
I love that. And I'm sure if you shared with anyone else that you start your day at 3:45 in the morning, they're probably like, what? 3:45 a.m.? because,
yes.
I'll tell you, I start my day around 5, and I get the same thing, like 5 in the morning. I'm like, yes, 5 a.m. But literally, as you mentioned, like if you have kids, there is time that, as mothers need to have, to ourselves, so we can have that meditation time, so we can, do our devotions and all of that. And literally, for me, that means getting up earlier so that I can get focused and, have that moment to myself before even really starting, the day. And, I have to agree with you. Your day kind of it sounds similar to mine, because I stopped watching the news in the morning too. Because like you said, it's information, but my goodness, and I think we talked about this, a little, earlier, about how there's so much negativity just in the world. And, and you hate to say, okay, I don't want to watch the news in the morning to get the news. But literally, when you turn on the news, there's just so much, so many things happening that's, really like the bad energy to kind of start your day out. Mm-hmm. So I definitely understand, understand that. So can you share a couple of tips on how our listeners can develop their confidence to create the life that they deserve?
Well, first of all, of course, everything goes back to mindset. I think that's where you have to start. I think before you can accomplish anything externally, I think you have to work on your internal you. So mindset, I'm always going to tell mindset. So my clients know that when I'm speaking, and that's very important. So your mindset is the first thing. But I think once you get into the right frame of mind, resilience, you have to, like I said, you have to have that commitment. You have to have that strength to press, to press on. And I'm not saying that, okay, if you get your mind right, everything's going to be great. And I'm not saying that, if you get your mind in a good place, that it's going to always be like that, because it's not. And I have had times where, I started feeling depressed, or I started saying, you know what, I can't do this. I can't go through this. But you have to have that resilience and that strength to not stay in that place, to pull yourself out of that and say, you know what, no, I can do this. I have exactly what I need. I'm equipped for a time like this. So mindset and resilience, I truly believe, work hand in hand. You can't have one without the other. But, again, mindset is going to be first and foremost every time for me.
Absolutely. I love that. Love it. I'll tell you that, you had mentioned that is what you share with your clients. And, I have to just kind of piggyback on that, because I think it's so important, before, you can even overcome any kind of fear, hurdle, whatever it may be, obstacle, challenge that you have in your life, that your mindset, you have to have the mindset that you're wanting to actually, overcome that fear. You have to, and oftentimes we have to condition our minds, to get to that point. And it's through, like you said, just to having that strength and that resiliency that helps us develop that confidence to create that life that we truly deserve. So we both know how important it is to inspire, motivate, mentor, and coach others. Could you share how important having your own coach and mentor has been for you in your business?
It has been just a very tremendous asset, and I highly suggest it for everyone. And as we were talking earlier, I have a person who coaches me for speaking, Lisa Nichols. She's my coach for speaking. I have someone who coaches me for business. And it's because, and if you think about it, even some of the best coaches, Tony Robbins, he has a coach. Oprah, she has a coach or two. And it's very important because you need someone who's going to help guide you, who you can consult with, someone who can advise you, someone who has been down the path where you're trying to go, so that you don't take the hard way, or that you don't end up, down a rabbit hole when you should be soaring. So coaches are very, very, very important, and you have to get a good one. So you can't just go out and, find anyone, but you have to get someone who's gonna understand where you want to go and what you're trying to do. And I think that whether it's a life coach or a business coach, whatever, it's great. And for me, 5-10 years ago, I didn't think I needed a coach, but since I have coaches now, I wouldn't dream on going any further without having coaches.
Absolutely, yes. I again have to completely agree with you. I don't think that I even realized how important having a coach was even before I decided to launch my own business. And when I got a coach, it opened my eyes to so many different things. And so from that point on, similar to how you shared that, so many people, that like Oprah, they all have coaches, Lisa Nichols, she has a coach, everyone has a coach. And it's so important for all of us to have a coach, a mentor, someone that we can turn to, one, for that accountability, because that's important. Oftentimes we think that, we got this, and, then we set those goals, and it doesn't, we find out that we don't have it, and we need to really have that coach to help us, whether it's advice, support, and so it is so important. I think I can't stress enough. And as you mentioned, when it comes down to having that coach, yeah, it has to be a good fit. I even encourage, the clients that I meet with, even before even having them as clients, let's have that conversation to make sure we're a good mesh, a good fit. And then, we go from there. So, yes, I think it's, extremely important not to just have a coach, have several coaches in different areas of your life, and then make sure, that coach is a perfect fit for you.
Absolutely.
So the common denominator throughout your career has been your ability to set goals and not only achieve but surpass them. How do you find that you have really been able to do that?
Well, first and foremost, my faith is very important to me, and I think without that, I wouldn't have been able to set the goals and stick to them and achieve them, because just like we've been talking, you have to be accountable, and you may set a goal, and life happens, and we're going to be honest. Life happens. Things happen, things come, things go. Sometimes traumatic things happen, and you fall off the wagon, so to speak. But you have to have that confidence and that belief in yourself to get back up. And you have to, there's going to be times where it's going to be very hard. So this is where the faith comes in at, because you're going to need something higher to believe in that you can, fall back on, call on, whatever that's going to help you with that strength. And that has helped me, all through my life, because even at some of my darkest moments, I would think, I can do all things through Christ, which strengthens me, So having that, and then, of course, I'm going back to the mindset, strength, and then I've always invested in myself as far as personal growth. I have never been one to be complacent. I've always been a learner, so I'm always reading. I'm going to conferences. Anything that's personal growth-wise, I have always sucked that up as like a sponge. So I believe those have been the keys to my success.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. That's awesome. Absolutely. So the empowerment quote for today is, do not follow where the path may lead. Go instead where there is no path and leave a trail, by Muriel Strode. Please share with us what that quote truly means to you.
Well, that quote to me says, be a trailblazer. You're going to go out and you're going to set your own path. You're not going to follow what's already there. You're not going to follow what someone is telling you to do. you're going to go out and you're going to, you're going to blaze that trail. You're going to create the path for yourself and maybe for others. And that's a powerful thing. And again, you got to be able to do that alone. You got to be able to do that scared. But so many times I find that we as people, we're not living the life that we want to live. We're living what someone told us that we should live, or we're looking at someone else's life thinking that their life is good, so we need to emulate that, when we should be, blazing our own trail and making our own path.
Absolutely. So what is one piece of advice that you would give our listeners on how they can empower their own growth and success journey?
Hands down is invest in yourself. Again, like I said, I mentioned how I like to read. I go to seminars, conferences, whatever it is that you need, that you know that if there's something that you want to pursue and you're like, okay, I need to learn more about this topic, go out and learn it, whether it's taking a course or picking up a book. Maybe you don't have the money to enroll in a course. You can go and invest in a $20, $30 book and read. A lot of times there are events going on that are free or low cost that you may be able to go to and hear people speak that may help you. But invest in yourself. You are worth it. You are important. And if you don't invest in yourself, you can't help anyone else. So you have to put yourself first and foremost.
That is the absolute truth. Yes, it is so important, as I mentioned before, to invest in self. So share with the listeners on what you have coming up on the horizon.
Well, I have a book to soon be released. It's called From a Mess to Amazing, 7 Steps to Create the Life You Deserve. So I'll have that on social media when I finally have my launch day. But I have that. I'm creating an online program which will be group coaching, kind of like the sister to the book, to help people gain clarity in their life and help them map out the blueprint to live intentionally in their life. And then I'm also doing one-on-one coaching.
Absolutely. So thank you so much, Trina, for sharing your amazing story and journey. Please share with some of our listeners on how they can stay connected with you and support your efforts.
Well, you can connect with me. My website is trinamartin.com, and I'm also on LinkedIn and Instagram if you want to DM me. So those are the 3 primary places that you can connect with me.
Awesome. Again, thank you so much. It's been a true honor and pleasure to have you as a guest on the show. Thanks again, for taking time out of your busy schedule to give me the opportunity to interview you.
Well, it's been my honor, to be on your show. So thank you for giving me time on, your platform and with your listeners, because I do know that that's a very precious thing. You're not just putting anyone in front of your audience. So I really thank you for having faith in me to bring me to add value to your listeners.
Absolutely. I just want to say I wish you, so much success and blessings as you continue on your journey.
Thank you. Same to you.
Listeners, thank you for tuning in to tonight's show with our special guest, Trina L. Martin. Trina shared her amazing story and journey to encourage, equip, and empower you for growth and success. And she also shared that it is so important to invest in yourself, whether that is reading a book, going to a seminar, a conference, whatever, so you can learn more about a topic. Just invest in yourself. If you are interested in being a guest on the show, starting your own radio show or low-cost advertising, highlighting your book, business, or event, please email envisionedb@empoweronpurpose.com. Please tune in next week where you will hear an amazing story and journey from another leader, influencer, and motivator. Until next time, be blessed.
Thank you for listening to the EmPower Hour with Jaresha, where Jaresha speaks with leaders, influencers, and motivators who share their journeys in personal and professional growth, empowerment tips, lessons learned, and keys of success that will empower you to be your best self. Follow Jaresha on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Jaresha Moore, and visit EmPowerOnPurpose.com. And remember to be intentional and be empowered, and have a great day on purpose.